In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to assess scan outputs. And so instead of using Nessus, we're going to go ahead and use OpenVOS to see how that one looks a little bit different. Now, in this one, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth than I did last time because I'm going to show you everything from creating the scan account, configuring its permissions, setting up OpenVOS, and then looking at the results that come from that scan. Let's jump into the environment and get started. First, we need to go ahead and configure our scan accounts. So I'm going to open up DC1 and then use my Active Directory Users and Computers area. And from here, I'm going to right-click on Users and select New and then Group. When I do this, I'm going to enter my name for my group. I'm going to call it SEC-GLO-SCAN. And this is the group name we're going to use for our auditors who are going to perform our scans. Now, when we look at the scope of this, it should be global and the type should be selected as security. Once that's done, go ahead and hit OK. Next, we're going to right-click on Users and select New and then User. Here, we're going to enter in the full name and username as scan. Then I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to enter a password. Now, I'm going to uncheck the User Must Change Password and check the password never expires, and then click None, and then Finish. This is a common setting when you're setting up a scan account. Now, when you do this, make sure you're using a good, strong password, because again, we're not requiring people to change their password here, and the password will never expire. Something long and strong and complicated would be a great use case here. Next, we're going to right-click the scan object that we just created, that user, and we're going to select Add to Group. Here, we're going to type in SEC-GLO-SCAN, and then click Check Name. Once that's underlined, click OK, and then we'll be able to hit OK again. Now, we can close the Active Directory Users and Computers console. Next, we're going to go into the Server Manager and select Tools, Group Policy Management. This will allow us to go and manage our group policies. Once we're in here, then right-click the Computers OU container and select Create a GPO in this domain and link it here. When we get to the box, we're going to go ahead and call it something. In this case, 515 Support Scanning Policy. If you remember, 515 Support is going to be our fictional company that we're using in most of our examples here. Now, we're going to expand the computer configuration, and then policies, and then Windows settings, then security settings, then local policies, and then user rights assignment. Once you do that, double-click the Deny Logon Locally. This is going to make sure that we're not going to allow people to log on to the local machines as an administrator. We can only do it remotely by using our scanning engine. We're going to check the Define These Policies settings box and then click Add Users or Groups. Again, we're going to type in our group, which is SEC-GLO-SCAN, and click OK, and then OK to confirm the main dialog. At this point, we can double-click the Deny Logon through Remote Desktop Services, because again, we don't want people logging on to these machines. And we're going to check the Define These Policy settings box and click Add User or Group. Again, we're going to put in our group, SEC-GLO-SCAN, and click OK, and then OK once more. Under Security Settings, we're going to select the Registry node. We're going to right-click in the empty pane and select Add Key. From here, we're going to select Users and click OK. Then we'll click Advanced and click Add. Then we can select a principal. Again, we're going to type in SEC-GLO-SCAN and click OK. From the type box, we're going to select Deny. From the Applies to list box, we're going to ensure this object and child objects is selected. Now, at this point, we can select the Show Advanced Permissions, and we're going to check the following boxes: Set Value, Create Subkey, Create Link, Delete, Change Permissions, and Take Ownership. And then we'll confirm all the dialog boxes. This allows us to create those keys that we need inside the registry to give us the right permissions for a scanner. Next, we're going to right-click in the empty pane and again select Add Key. From here, we're going to select Machine and click OK. Then click Advanced and Add and select a principal. Once more, we're going to type in SEC-GLO-SCAN and click OK. From the type box, we're going to select Deny. And for the Applies to list box, we're going to select this object and child objects. Then we're going to click the Show Advanced Permission and make sure we check the following boxes: Set Value, Create Subkey, Create Link, Delete, Change, and Take Ownership. Once more, confirm all the dialog boxes, and now we have set the right permissions. So at this point, we have now created a user and a group with the right permissions that we can use for our scanners. Anytime we want to do credentialed scans now, we're going to use the user account SEC-GLO-SCAN inside the group SEC-GLO-SCAN, because that is our scanning account. So any host on the network will allow us to connect using administrative credentials when we're using the scan account. And it gives us local administrative rights to the registry across all the computers in this domain. Now that we've finished creating the scan account, we need to go into OpenVOS and start using it. So we're going to go over to my OpenVOS scanning machine and we're going to go to the web page 10.1.0.243, which is my local account. When you're using OpenVOS, you're going to do it through a web page that then interacts with the server and the program on that local machine. Once we're there, I'm going to log in with my admin user and my password. Now, once I'm in the system, you can see the dashboard, and there isn't much information here because I haven't done any scans yet. First, I want to go to Configuration under the menu, and then select Credentials. From here, I want to select New Credential, and then in that dialog box, I'm going to add a new account, known as SEC-GLO-SCAN, that user account we just created. Now, from the Allow Insecure Use options, I'm going to select Yes, because I want to find every vulnerability in my systems, not just the ones that might not cause problems. Then, in the username box, I'm going to type 515 support, which is my domain, /scan, and in the password box, I'm going to type my password. Now notice the /scan is that user account we created. After we do this, click Save. Now that we have our credentials saved, we can now go and configure a scan scope and sensitivity. When we do this, we're going to decide what group of targets we want to go after with our vulnerability scanning. So we're going to click on Configuration and then select Targets. Here, I'm going to click New Target. Then, in that web dialog, I'm going to type in the name 515 support-host-windows because I'm going to do a scan across all my hosts inside my network that are Windows-based. Next to the host, I'm going to select Manual and type in the IP address that I want to scan. In this case, 10.1.0.0/24, which is my subnet that contains all my Windows hosts. Next, I can click to exclude some hosts. So I'm going to select Manual and type in 10.1.0.254, 10.1.0.243. Now, the .243 machine is the box I'm actually scanning with, so I don't want to actually scan this as part of my host because it's actually an excluded area. It is my vulnerability scanner. Then under Credentials, I'm going to select SEC-GLO-SCAN because that is one that we have authorized as that administrative scanning account. And then I'm going to click on Save. Now, next I'm going to go into the Configuration menu and click Scan Configs. Here, we're going to take a few minutes to just browse the default scan configurations, but we're not going to make any changes here. From the scans, I can select tasks, and from the tasks, there's going to be a wizard prompt that appears. If it does, just close it. Next, click on New Task, and then select New Task. In the New Task dialog box, we're going to type in the name that we want to call this, in this case, 515 support-host-windows-full. Then, from the Scan Targets box, we're going to select the group we just set up, 515 support-host-windows. From the Scan Configuration box, we're going to ensure that we select Full and Fast, which is the type of vulnerability scan we want to conduct. And then we'll click Save, and finally, we'll click Play, which will start our scan. Now, because I'm using the Community Edition here, I don't have the ability to schedule tasks. That's a feature of the Pro version of this tool. So if you're going to be using this on your own home network, you're going to have to actually remember to start up the scan yourself at designated intervals instead of having it do it for you automatically. Now, it'll usually take a couple of minutes or even longer to perform these scans because it's connecting to each machine inside my scope and being able to test them for those vulnerabilities. So I'm going to speed this up here so you don't have to wait as long. Once you're done, you're going to get back the results by going ahead and looking at the scan report. Click on Scan and then Results. Once you do that, you'll see a dashboard with 4 key areas. The top left is all the results by severity class. So in this case, you could see I had 163 total vulnerabilities. I had 7 high, 26 medium, 5 low, and the rest of these were log or informational content. Then in the middle, we have a word cluster. These are words that are coming to us based on all those vulnerabilities that were found. And so I could see, for instance, that Windows occurred a lot because these were Windows scans. So that was a very large word. So it's a very quick visual way to say, oh, I have an issue with SSL TLS, or I have an issue with SSH, or whatever that vulnerability is that's really taking up most of your cluster there inside the words. Then on the top right side, you have the results shown based on the severity inside of CVSS. So it goes from non-applicable, low, and then 1 through 10. And so you can see very quickly how dangerous things are on your network. Now, what I really find useful is that bottom part. Now, in the bottom part, we're seeing the results 10 at a time. And in those results, we're going to see, in this case, 10 out of 163. You'll have the name of the vulnerability. You'll have the severity. You'll have the quality of detection. You'll have the host IP, the name, which is the DNS name of your server, and then the location and when that was created. This is information, again, at the top level, but you can drill down and see additional detail by clicking on the names of those vulnerabilities. So now that we've done a quick look at our results, let's go ahead and take a look by filtering to find out anything associated with a particular host. For example, if I wanted to find all the vulnerabilities for the host at 10.1.0.1, I could go into the filter box, type host equals 10.1.0.1, and click Update Filter. This is all the vulnerabilities associated with my domain controller. Now you'll see there's not many here. Why is that? Well, because we really only did an uncredentialed scan against the domain controller. We gave ourselves permissions with that scan account to have administrative rights on everything in the network except the domain controller. So the domain controller is getting an uncredentialed scan while everything else is getting a credentialed scan. Now, let's take a look, for instance, at the null session vulnerability. When we click on that, we can see that because the guest account is enabled, there is a serious configuration here, and because this is a domain controller, this is quite alarming. This is something that definitely should not be there on a domain controller, which is why there's a high severity, and it's something we should fix quite quickly. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to filter out and adjust our string here. So instead of looking at the domain controller at 10.1.0.1, let's go ahead and make that 10.1.0.2. When we do that, you're going to see a lot more severe results. This is because we had administrative credentials and we did a credentialed scan. Now, when we did this on a host, we're going to see a lot more vulnerabilities because we have administrative rights. In this case, we see a lot of them that have high severity in the 10 range or the 9 range. Now, we can go in and look at these by clicking on those reports. And if you have internet access connected to this, you can actually go and research those different CVEs to figure out what you should do. For example, if we look at the vulnerability in the filter and we want to find everything that's affected by a particular vulnerability, instead of looking at it by host, we can type in vulnerability tilde quote and then the name of the vulnerability. In my case, I'm going to use 401.3389 and then end quote. Once I do that, I click the Update Filter button, and you will see that I have a hit for PC2, which is running Windows 7. And this is bad news because this is the same vulnerability that was used by WannaCry, which is known as Eternal Blue. This is a big bad vulnerability that allows remote code execution on a system. So this is one that if you find in your network, you want to make sure you get it patched up pretty quickly. Now, additionally, we can look at the same results by instead of looking at the vulnerability number based on the knowledge base that Microsoft uses, we can instead look at it based on a CVE. For example, I know that the WannaCry vulnerability is CVE 2017-0144. So I can go into the filter box, type tilde, quote, CVE-2017-0144, quote, and hit Update Filter. Now I'm going to find any machines that match that CVE. This is really useful if there's some new big bad vulnerability that comes out and you want to test all your systems for that particular vulnerability. For example, I was working in a large organization when the Apache Struts vulnerability came out a couple of years ago. We wanted to identify across our millions of endpoints which ones were vulnerable to this attack. So we were able to do a search looking just for that one CVE as we looked across our network and scanned, and that way we could find those and patch those quickly. So hopefully you've enjoyed this short lesson on learning how to configure your scanner and use a scanner using OpenVAS and the Greenborn Community Edition.